everybody, welcome to the channel. In today's episode, we're going to be taking that compact dry curing chamber that we got a couple of weeks ago from Pro Smokers and begin the process of packing it full of meat. Now, I gotta say, you guys lit up the comment section in our last video with all kinds of amazing suggestions, and I think before it's all over with, we're going to try to do all of those in this chamber. But today, we're going to be doing one of my all-time favorite salami just to get it started, the Italian patina. If you're not familiar with patina, think of it as an Italian meatball salami. I mean, this is an absolutely brilliant piece of charcuterie. It's meat, spices, wine, rolled in polenta flour, and then placed to dry. What makes this charcuterie especially difficult is that there is no protective casing. And so the conditions of drying have to be perfect. If the airflow is too high, or if the humidity is too low, your patina is not going to dry evenly. Matter of fact, the outer edges of your meatball are going to dry faster than the center, and that's going to develop a crust. That's called dry ring, or in a worst case scenario, it's called case hardening, in which the very center is still raw. That's considered a failure. And so I thought we would take a first crack at this dry curing chamber, hard and fast, and see what happens. Now, we are going to be answering some of the questions that came up in video 1 towards the end of this video, like space, like airflow, things like that. So you're going to want to stick around to the very end of this video. And before we begin, I just want to give a quick shout out to my friends over at brickpizzaoven.com. A few of you have been asking, where did we get this absolutely stunning leather apron? We got it from brickpizzaoven.com. They've got lots of different styles, a bunch of different types of leather to choose from. The one that I'm wearing is a buffalo leather. It is ultra soft. It fits amazing. It smells amazing. And I gotta admit, I think it looks pretty great as well. It's my new favorite apron. Check out their aprons over at brickpizzaoven.com. I'll put a link in the description box below. You guys ready to get started? Let's make patina. This salami is easily in my top 5 favorite salami of all time. We're going to grind our semi-frozen meat and fat on a 6mm plate. If you have yet to make this recipe, check the description box below. I'm going to put a link to the recipe. It should be on your short list of salami to make because it is very easy and incredibly delicious. Now, what you're going to see is kind of the abridged version of this recipe. I'm not going to take you through all the finer points. The recipe link does have all the details lined out. Check out that grind. That is absolutely perfect. Now, I'm actually shooting several videos at once, so you may see this same footage in a separate video because we're making this recipe with 3 different starter cultures. So we have 1 kilo in each bowl. We're going to be using the exact same ingredients for each one of those bowls, and the only difference is going to be the starter cultures. We're going to be using FLC, TSPX, and Flavor of Italy. So you're not going to want to miss that video. We're going to be answering quite possibly one of the most popular questions that I get regarding starter cultures, and that video should be out soon. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. All right, let's go ahead and mix this up. I'm only going to do one at a time. No need for you to see the entire process. We've got our meat in our mixer, and that's roughly, like I said, about 1 kilo, 2.2 pounds. We're going to be adding our starter culture. In this case, it's Flavor of Italy. Give it a mix until it's nice and sticky. And once it's nice and sticky, we are good to go. And we mixed probably about 90 seconds with the stand mixer. It's brilliant. 90 seconds is all it took. All right, so let's go ahead and weigh our meatballs out. I like to do anywhere between 150 to 200 grams per meatball. In this particular case, I'm going to be doing about 150 grams, and this salami should be done in about 3 weeks. That's another reason why I love patina, because it is so fast by comparison. All right, so let's go ahead and make our meatballs. I'm actually pressing down with a little bit of force to make sure everything's bound together, eliminate any air pockets, and to seal any creases. This is what it should look like when you're done. You're going to end up with basically one really beautiful meatball, and now we need to give it a wine bath and a polenta coating. So all we're going to do is dip our meatball into the wine and use the wine that you normally drink. If you like the flavor, that flavor is going to carry over into your patina. Once it's been dipped and it's all wet, go ahead and dip it into the polenta. What you're going to do is basically coat all sides of that meatball, and this is what 6.6 pounds of patina looks like. We now need to let this ferment. Salami is a fermented meat, so we need to allow the starter culture to work, let that pH drop. And during that fermentation process, we're going to be cold smoking these patina. So I'm going to let these hang out on my counter for about 12 hours, and then we'll cold smoke them in the morning. It's now the next morning. Let's get our small chamber ready. We're going to go ahead and press the UV button and the temperature control button to change that from Celsius to Fahrenheit. Hold that for a few seconds. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and put one of my Govee high-growth thermometers. You know I love these things in there because I want to monitor what's going on during the entire process of it drying. Okay, so this is now set up. By the time we're done cold smoking, that's going to be at the appropriate temperature, and now we need to get these into our smoker. All of this is during the fermentation stage. So I'm just going to go ahead and place that patina on one rack in our Smokin' It smoker. Now, we still need to maintain high humidity. How do we do that? Here's how I do it. I've got a pan of water. That's going to help maintain the humidity inside this box. And to wick that moisture, we're going to place a paper towel right in that water. I want to make sure that the right and left side hang over, and that's going to help wick that moisture, keep the humidity pretty high while we're, fermenting and cold smoking. Let's go ahead and get our cold smoke generator up and running. This is also from Smokin' It Smoker. And we are using a combination of oak, a little hickory, and a little cherry wood to smoke this patina. I think it's going to be amazing. And this is going to cold smoke for about 7 or 8 hours. What I'm more concerned about is the final pH of the meat. I'm looking for anything under 5.2. That's considered the safe zone, and that's what we're going to be targeting. So roughly 6 hours later, these have been smoking for about 6 hours. We're going to test the results with our Apera Instruments pH meter. All you do is stick it in the meat, and it lets you know what the pH is. Absolutely brilliant for salami making. So we're looking for anything under 5.2. I like to target 4.9, and it looks like I'm right there. 4.95, not a problem. So this salami is done. We can go ahead and pull it and stick it into our chamber. Now, I did test the pH of the TSPX and the FLC. Remember, we used 3 different starter cultures, and we were all within target. And so we're going to go ahead and remove this from the smoker and place it into our chamber. This particular chamber works by dehumidification, right? So as we put the meat in there and that meat starts to release moisture, the chamber manages the moisture through dehumidification, and that's what controls the drying. So I'm super excited to see how this is going to turn out. Now, this is only going to be project 1. I am going to put multiple things in here at different stages, and I do think that that's going to be key in making sure that everything does dry evenly. Or heck, I don't know, maybe I'll just leave this in here by itself just to see what happens. I have it set to 55 Fahrenheit or 13 Celsius, and the humidity value is set to 80%. And there we go. Now we close the chamber down and see what happens. Should I add more meat? Should I just see what happens with this? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, that patina is going to hang out in that dry curing chamber for 3 weeks. I guess it really just depends on the conditions of the chamber. And we're going to be monitoring the inside with our Govee high growth thermometer. So you'll be able to see all of that in the next upload, the results upload of the patina project. Here's the question that I would like for you to help me answer. Should we add more meat at this stage? Because the concept of this particular chamber works off of dehumidification. In theory, if you're constantly adding new projects to this dry curing chamber, you're always going to be introducing high levels of humidity. Now, it is recommended to put a minimum of 5 pounds to begin with, but what happens if that's all you have in there, all the way to completion? How does the chamber operate at the tail end of the drying? Does it dry faster? Does it maintain that high humidity? Those are the questions that I think you guys want answered. So here's what I'd like for you to do. In the comment section below, should we add another project to patina, or should we just wait and see how it finishes? I'd love to hear your responses. Let's address space, because that was one of the issues. How big is it? Can you do this? Can you do that? I can say this. If you have a huge pig and you butcher the hind leg of the pig to make prosciutto, there's a decent chance that that's not going to fit inside this chamber. The chamber's space is fairly limited. Matter of fact, if you check the pinned comment, I'll put the exact dimensions, of the inside of the chamber so that you can check it out yourself. If you have a fairly small pig, maybe a leg of lamb or something like that, absolutely, that'll fit in there, no problem. With that being said, I do feel like there's enough space for everything else. If you want to do culatello, which is just the meatier portion of the prosciutto, arguably the king of prosciuttos. If you want to do pancetta, guanciale, the capicola, if you want to do, bresaola, any salami, all that really great stuff, that'll fit in there, no problem. Now remember, we're only talking about the dry curing part of this chamber. This is a dual purpose chamber. You can dry cure, which is what we're doing right now, or you can dry age. And the reason we're not really spending a lot of time, at least right now, talking about dry aging is because in my mind, dry aging is not that complicated. You need a cold fridge with relatively high humidity. You are going to create a bark. And so dry aging beef is not that hard. I actually feel like this will do it without a problem. If, though, it can do charcuterie, we got ourselves a winner on our hand, and I can't wait to see what happens. Speaking of space in the chamber, let me show you what I noticed in here just a second ago. Let's open up the chamber and take a peek inside. And what you're looking at is a little over 6.5 pounds of meat that's dry curing. So that's what that's going to look like. There is this bar right here at the top where you can hang some meat if you want. But if it's an option, it looks like you can add 2 more shelves and basically increase the holding capacity to about 10 pounds on the shelves alone. Right here at the bottom, though, you have this lower shelf where you can hang, basically some lightweight stuff. And if you guys want me to add more product, this is probably where we're going to put it. Either hang it down or hang it across, maybe a pancetta, maybe some sort of beef charcuterie. So depending on what you're making, it looks like you could put roughly about 15 to 17 pounds worth of charcuterie in this small cabinet, which is pretty sweet. One particular concern that we had when we were unboxing this unit was a computer fan that's placed directly in the center in the ceiling of the inside of the chamber. Now, some of you were asking, what direction does the air flow? The air flows into the chamber, so it's blowing on the meat. And so it will be interesting to see how that particular fan, maybe it's just a very gentle breeze, which would be ideal, how that fan performs and whether it affects the charcuterie negatively. You'll be able to see it with your own eyes when we cut into that first piece of patina. Another question that we got in the last video was price. How much does this unit cost? Well, unfortunately, I don't know the answer to that yet because it hasn't yet been released. I think it's scheduled to be released in about 2 to 3 weeks. So if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss a single one of our updates. And you can see whether or not this unit performs the way you would like it to for your dry aging or your dry curing needs. All right, folks, that's all I got for you today. Remember, leave me a comment and let me know how you want me to proceed with this chamber. The majority rules, here are the options. Leave the patina alone, wait till it finishes and see what the results are, or add more charcuterie. Maybe we'll stagger it 1 week at a time, do a pancetta, do a bresaola, do another salami, whatever. Whichever one you decide, majority rules, that's what we will go with. Don't forget to check out brickpizzaoven.com. Let me know if you have any questions about this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.